Hey, what's up, guys? Sean here with Blue Ridge Silverhound. For a second, I forgot my name. Back at it again. It's been a couple weeks since we did a little bit of the market checkup on fancy serial numbers. So we're back. We have a little bit of a group to talk about. All selling within the last like 12 to 18 hours. So I didn't have to dig really deep to find a lot of these notes, but we have some pretty nice groups here to talk about. Circulated, uncirculated, it really doesn't matter. These notes they're just banging it on the marketplace right now. And if you haven't looked at your dollar bills in your pocket, in your wallet, in your purse, you might want to consider doing that because some of these sell for far more than the actual printed face value is on the note, which is really cool. So, like a lot of my other videos, we don't traditionally talk about graded coins for these things that you could traditionally find out of pocket change, which is good. You know, you could keep that $30, $40 in your pocket. Grading doesn't necessarily add value to any of these notes. You know, you just take decent pictures, like what you see here, throw them up on eBay. You can either do kind of like a 99-cent start, as long as you have good photos and you typed in the appropriate information into the listing title. Then I would say you're in good shape here. All right, so there's not a whole lot that you do need to accomplish to get started on some sort of e-commerce type of opportunity here with these things. If and only if you want to kind of like expand and make this a lot bigger than what you wanted to. Okay, which I know a lot of people that do this. You know, they do this for a living or they supplement their normal income, whether it's doing this or coin roll hunting or just getting into the hobby in some aspect. Maybe you become a big time dealer and that becomes your main job. Whatever your focus is, I'm simply just kind of leading the collective wild horses to the water, and it's really up to them to whether or not they want to drink it. So we are going to, I would say we got like 15 or 20 or so notes to look at. Fancy serial number patterns are incredibly popular today for a number of reasons. From the seller standpoint to the people that do buy them, it's a collector base and an aspect of numismatics that's continuously growing each and every single month. So the first one that we have here is what we call a binary, and what I like most about this $5 bill, other than the fact that it sold for $35.99 with 11 bids. The note isn't really anything to, kind of write home to mother about. Condition-wise, it's pretty shot. When we look up close to this note, you're going to see there's a few margin tears up here, which to a lot of collectors, they do weigh condition pretty heavily in the note's value. But still, even one in this condition, still managed to sell for what it did. I would say that's just a testament to the strength of this market that we're in right now. So binary is any two numbers that exist on a serial number. In this case, we have sixes and eights. What I like most about it, before I kind of like went off on this tangent, is that the numbers are grouped together. So you got 3 eights that are together and 5 sixes that are together. What would make this note even more special, other than the fact that maybe a better condition would be good, it's so close to what we call a double quad. So that's if we had 4 eights and 4 sixes kind of grouped together on there. Those are some of the higher tier type of fancies that you can find, and those traditionally sell for upwards of $80 to $150 depending on condition and the type of numbers that's on there. Ugly doesn't necessarily mean the note's worthless. Okay, you gotta get that out of your mind. A lot of people will say, well, I can't very well sell this because of XYZ intangibles. And I have a lot of people that have messaged me, and say, hey, I found this note, and it's like a really incredible fancy serial number, but I don't want to sell it because it has a big red stain on it, or it's got a tear on it, or whatever the case may be. And I have to reassure folks, when you're in this hobby, you have to put everything on a level playing field. Okay, whether ugly sells, in the currency market too. Especially if there's a near number pattern that's pretty rare and tough to find, people will still pay you for that. Okay, this is one of those classic cases here where 11 bids, $36. Throw it up. If it doesn't fit your need in your collection because you're an aesthetics person, keep in mind that someone else will find the value in this. The next one that we have here is it's 4 pairs is what it's called on this dollar bill. So what's interesting is that they took the time to go onto a website called mycurrencycollection.com. And they do a fancy serial number checker, okay? And when you plug in the serial number, the website spits out this random kind of percentage on the coolness of the serial number. And, people over the course of the last few years have been taking advantage of this tool, using it for resales. I'm not a personal fan of it because, a lot of the serial numbers have their own kind of like cryptic meaning to them. Therefore, they're all going to have a relatively good coolness index. But, to each their own. It's working here. This note sold for $23. But let's go ahead and take a look and see what this one's all about. So this one, they actually ended up printing the sheet or that screen capture for the My Currency Collection website, and then they put it on there with the note, overlaid on top of it. Nice green background. Overall, it works from a presentation standpoint. And maybe this is something that you guys want to implement in your sales to kind of make it look more different than everybody else. Okay, this particular seller utilized this with great success because if you're able to get 23 times your face value on what I consider to be a very marginal type of serial number, because there's quite a few of these that exist, then that is a huge win in my book. So the 4 pairs, double 6s, double 7s, double 0s, and double 8s, okay? And they all have to be grouped together as such. You can't have like all these numbers all kind of jumbled up on a serial number line. They have to be paired up appropriately that you see here. So they're always more equitable on dollar bills. I've seen them sell for as low as $5 to $10. But in certain occasions, you could throw these up as a buy it now type of shot and see whoever pulls the trigger on it. All right. So this particular case, someone did see what they liked on there. And it's a very well circulated piece. It's probably a low end VF from what I can see, but a great sale here. The next one that we have here is a $20 bill, and it's a trinary, so it's got 3 different numbers on the serial number, but most importantly, they call this a flipper, and the seller did not add the word flipper to their, I guess their listing title, and what that is you have 3 of the main numbers, 0s, 6s, and 9s. When you flip the note over and you make all these numbers upside down, they're all going to read the same because the 6s and the 9s is the same type style, whether they're right side up or upside down. The 9s are 6s and the 6s are 9s. They didn't have any weird difference from one to the other. But, it's about as simplistic as you could get. Some people would say that the number 8 is the flipper as well, but if you look at the number 8, it's got a big butt. The bottom of the 8 is a much bigger circle than the top of the 8, which is a smaller circle. Therefore, in my opinion, would not qualify as a flipper because there is a design difference from the top to the bottom. But it's a $20 bill, and we have to be careful here, folks, because usually with larger denomination notes, you have a much higher cost of ownership with these. So if you don't sell them for a reasonable amount of money to where it is worth it to you, to where you're going to make at least maybe $4 or $5 in profit, I would probably just end up spending something like this. Now, it's entirely possible that this seller just kind of undershot the value of this note because flippers tend to sell for a very good amount of money. Like this note could have very well sold for $30, $35, maybe even $40. You could really test the market, look at other sold sales, but really adding in the word flipper or rotator, those are the two most common terminologies for this type of serial number, probably would have been an important ad. But we can't really tell this guy that, oh, he screwed up, blah, blah, blah. It is a $20 bill. The amount of profit, the net profit you're going to make at the end of the sale is going to be small anyways. So on a dollar bill, it probably would sell for $15-20. Sure, it's a little bit less money, but your net profit would be a lot higher because of the lower denomination. The next one that we have here is another trinary. This one right here has 3 4s, that pesky 9, and then 4 2s in there. And they really loaded up the listing title with all sorts of like little keywords for the fancy serial number scene. They put in fancy serial number. They even typed in the serial number. They put in trinary, quad, trip, as if we're playing poker here. But $11.50 on this one, which is right in the market. I've actually seen these go for about $5 to $8, even though some of the numbers are grouped together. So you got the 3 4s and the 4 2s grouped together on the serial number, which makes it more eye appealing, more aesthetically pleasing. We have our first 4-digit repeater on this $1 bill. Again, note the listing. It has all of the relevant keywords. This is a 2013 bill. It sold for $30, and it shows the serial number as reading 0944 0944. So the first 4 numbers read twice the same way. It's an LS block. Condition-wise, they did take a picture of the note sideways. Again, it's one of my pet peeves because aesthetically it doesn't look good, but it does showcase the full note on there. I guess you could always right click, copy the image, put it into paint, and then rotate it if you want a better look. But overall, the circulated note, again, the circulated notes in that VF condition, still very collectible, problem free with no tears or anything like that. Still pretty good. $30 is a very strong number, by the way, for this type. Repeaters and radars, 4-digit radars, are some of the more common types of fancy serial numbers that you can encounter out there in circulation. Here's a pretty cool binary and another rotator, right, guys? So this one features 0s and 6s on this $1 bill. It looks to be incredibly fresh note. It doesn't exhibit a whole lot of circulation wear, if any. It's on a 2017 bill, which is good. $15.50, 7 bids, and the note is pretty nice. I would say it's a high-end AU. There are a few corner folds in this area here that you can see, but another great catch. One of my favorites, this is another binary, but it does feature 2 of the more popular numbers that you could collect into, and that's 0s and 8s. And you could even throw in 7 in there as well because they're deemed lucky. So this one here sold for $26.25. Binary, 0s and 8s. You gotta love it. 3 bids strong on this one. Great looking note. It's got a tighter top margin on there. Again, eye appeal wise, it may not be everybody's cup of tea, but another great sale. And this is kind of par for the course for the amount of money it did sell for. This is a $10 bill, 2017A, featuring a binary. It's so close to being a binary repeater, except for that last 6. It was close. It was 1 digit away. 2017A, very strong sale. Again, we're talking about a $10 bill here, so it's a higher denomination. You got to make sure you try and pitch and promote it so that way it sells for a lot more money for what it is. $55, 19 bids, 6s and 5s on that serial number. This one is also a crispy uncirculated note, which is the pinnacle to any collectible, and therefore in tandem with the fancy serial number archetype will drive this one a lot higher because of that best combination of both. Here's our first 7 of a kind. This time we have a bunch of ones and then that pesky 3 right in the middle. So close to a solid here on this $1977 bill. Don't let the age fool you, because even newer notes will still sell for around this, if not higher. Now, I'm going to say that this one probably undersold by a hair. It ended up capturing $49 for the sale, 24 bids. You can see that serial number, quite a scarce one to find. The note is circulated. Again, I probably deem this one like a VF30. Overall, nice body, but you do see those hard quarter folds in there. All right, so pretty nice one there. Here's another one, and then keep an eye out on Ronald J.H. He's one of the bigger sellers of fancies on eBay. This one is a $2013 bill this time around, featuring a low 3-digit serial 646. Where you see the premiums kind of shoot up a lot more as far as low-digit serial numbers is anything with 5 leading zeros and a 3-digit serial. Okay, so that seems to be, in today's market, a lot of people will throw a lot of credence into a 4-digit low serial number, and that's fine. You know, you can make your 10, 15, 20 bucks off those. A lot more if it has a star paired up to it. But 3 digits have always long been that kind of that target for a lot of collectors. $28.70, 6 bids. Which, you know, seems to be in that wheelhouse as well for value. This one, nice, crispy, uncirculated, very crackling, fresh example. Beautiful find right there, and a great sale. Not too bad there. We also have this 4-digit repeater, again from Ronald, on a $2017 bill. 3112, 3112 on this dollar bill. This time an $11 sale, which is kind of like par for the course for something like this. Again, 4-digit repeaters and 4-digit type of radars where there's 4 different numbers in there. Those are the more common type of fancy serial numbers to find out there. $11, 10 bids here on this one. What I don't talk about is shipping. Some of them do charge shipping, some of them don't. All right, so please do take note of that. Shipping doesn't come off your bottom line for profit and cost and things like that. Excuse me. This one right here, very well circulated piece, probably a VF20, 25-ish arena. There you go. Here's our first star note, binary 0s and 6s this time. Any fancy serial number paired up with a star is certainly going to fetch a lot more money in today's market. Now, you'll notice that compared to the other binary 0s and 6s that we saw earlier, this one sold for a lot more money, due in part to the star. $39, 21 bids. It is a 1976 $2 bill. You know, again, I really don't put a whole lot of stuff in the fact that it's a non-traditional denomination. $2 bills are cool with a fancy on there, but you know, you could sell this for this kind of money on just about any denomination. But yeah, great looking note. It's a replacement note. You gotta love it. Here's also another binary 2s and 7s. So this is a 2017 $1 bill. 6 of a kind deuces, which you can make the argument that they may or may not actually play a huge factor into value. $15.50, 14 bids this time on this one, and a pretty decent looking note. High-end VF, maybe a 30, 35 here with this one. It faces up a lot better than you see on the reverse, which is good. People want notes and coins and stuff that face up better than it does the other way around. So there you go. Again, that's kind of typical for something like this. Pretty well done there. Here is an interesting one. It sold for $29, which was their minimum bid they were asking for. It did capture 1 bid. So someone did bid on this thing. It features, I don't know how you call this. It's a a two-digit repeater, but also two different numbers, 0606 7979. So $29. They did pop in a few bucks for shipping, which is totally reasonable for something like this. It is a $20 bill. So, at the end of the day, this individual probably profits about $6 after fees and all that stuff. So that's not too bad. Better than a sharp stick in the eye. Here's another binary with two of the more popular numbers, 7s and 8s, although this note is pretty ragtag at first glance. $15.50, 13 bits. Let's see how good we can see the note here. It's got a lot of heavy folds on there. There's the serial number, a little bit faded, and the reverse. Okay, probably a fine 15 type-ish note right there with that one. But yeah, that's a pretty, again, another decent sale. Condition really does play a factor in here, so don't overprice your things if you're going to do a buy it now. If the condition is less than desirable for what the market is. Here is another $20 bill. This time a 2004 20 with a 3-digit low serial number of 908. Now this is interesting. This one ended up getting popped as a buy it now, but it might just be the total presentation that really took this one home. $135 was the sale price, which is incredible considering that we saw another 3-digit serial sell for not even close to this. But it's in this Dallas Series 2004 folder presentation. I don't know if this is one of the notes that was sold at the BEP back in the day. It could have been. I'm really not sure. The note is a crispy uncirculated. Okay, where if you put that together with the low serial number, I can see why this one sold for $135. So if you do come across something like this as an oddity, whether you're buying a collection or maybe you see one at a coin shop that's priced way too cheap, definitely keep this one aside. It's very interesting, and it earned every bit of the $135. Here is our one and only radar actually this week. This is a 3-digit, so it features 5s, 6s, and 7s. $21.50 off of 10 bits. Now it is a $5 bill, and the serial number reads 65766756. So the first 4 numbers read exactly the same, only mirrored after the halfway point of the serial number. Sideways action there. Good looking note. Very, very little circulation wear. It's probably an XFAU condition note. Really sharp. It's a good looking piece. $21.50. And we also have what we call, and someone had mentioned, hey, what do broken ladders go for? That's where you have either 0 through 7, 1 through 8, 2 through 9. So you have all those numbers represented on a serial number. And we have one right here, in which we call a broken ladder. $11.95. Don't expect the farm on these, even though you have one of each digit. So this is 1 through 8. So it has a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, 7, and 8. All the serial number, they're not in order. That would be a very special note worth many, many, many hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. This one right here, though, pretty good consolation prize, considering that there are a lot more other broken ladder possibilities in a full 96 million note run. $11.95. I would take that all day long. And then we do have a couple bangers to end things on. This one probably not so much. It's a $1963 bill, $25 with 2 bits. It has 6 4s in a row, and that's really all it is here. The note is really nice, high quality. Again, when you put that together with the age, and having all those 4s in a row together like that is actually quite attractive to the eye. And, by the time all is said and done, this one did overachieve in the marketplace with a $25 sale. Again, it's not the strangest thing I've seen, but, don't be surprised when you do encounter a sale like this when you're, trying to resell these things. And the last couple notes, incredible. 2017 dollar bill. They call this one the super repeater. You have 2 digits repeated over 4 times. 03030303. And what do you see there at the end? A star, right? This is a replacement star super repeater. This is one of the higher echelon types of fancies out there in the market today. $129.49 with 23 total bids. This is a strong listing. For a note that I would classify as being like a VF20 to VF25 caliber grade, which isn't anything too hot, but this is where the fancy serial number type prevails here on this one. And then the fast final lot right here, quite interesting. We actually have a pair of dollar bills with the same serial number, and they're 7 of a kinds. All right. The only thing different here is the prefix and the suffix letters are different. The top note is a BE block. The bottom note is an LA block. One is a 1977 issue. The other is a 2017 A series issue. But they are the same numbers on there. So it's got quad 5s, a 2, and then 3 5s. And that's both notes. So it's a matching pair. And the rationale here is like, hey, we have the same serial number. Let's go ahead and list them together as a pair. And it ended up selling for $145.50. All right, which is pretty good because that's a little bit higher when you cut each one in half. Each one sold for $72.75 a piece, which is a little bit higher in the marketplace for a 7 of a kind. All right, so yeah, I mean, it's pretty nice. The notes are very well circulated, by the way. There's no smoke and mirrors here. These notes truly look like they came out of circulation. The 77 series dollar, probably my least favorite because it's got that tight right margin there. It looks a little bit miscut or off center, and that's not everybody's cup of tea. All right, so great way to end things off here on. And again, this is kind of like a little sample size for you guys to let you know that the market is alive and strong. You know, it's a great opportunity if you wanted to step away from doing coins, or maybe you want to strictly do this because you find it fascinating. There's no better time than now. Okay, and the big reason why is that the BEP is constantly printing notes each and every single day. So they're printing new runs of dollar bills, 2s, 5s, 10s, 20s, 50s, you name it. So there's always fresh new inventory that's getting recirculated into the system every single day. And you might as well take advantage of that. So that's going to go ahead and wrap things up for this one. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. It was a pleasure chatting with you guys here today about fancy serial numbers and how the market is doing. It's alive and well. And it's a great time to start collecting into this. All right, that's it, guys. We are discovering together. You guys take care, and I'll see you on the next video. So long.